Mark's emergency beacon had been broadcasting for 3 days when the small voices found him. Food. Food. The pink skin has food. He spun around, plasma rifle raised, scanning the crimson rocks of Drakkar 7. The planet was supposedly uninhabited, a barren wasteland of iron oxide deserts and volcanic ranges. That's why his cargo freighter's crash landing here was particularly unfortunate. Down here, pink skin. Mark looked down. 3 creatures, each no larger than a house cat, perched on a boulder near his makeshift camp. They had scales that shimmered like oil on water, wings too small for their bodies, and eyes that glowed with unsettling intelligence. You can speak standard? Mark lowered his rifle slightly. The smallest one, whose scales flickered with orange and gold patterns, hopped forward. Flame speaks many languages. Flame is very smart. You have food? Mark glanced at his dwindling supplies. 2 protein bars and half a canteen of water. I need this food. I'm waiting for rescue. We can eat your leftovers, the middle dragon chirped enthusiastically. Humans make lots of leftovers. We studied you. Studied us? Mark's hand drifted back toward his rifle. How do you know about humans? Flame puffed out his tiny chest. Mother teaches us everything. She says humans are the only species that shares food with creatures they don't have to share with. Very strange. Very interesting. The third dragon, slightly larger with deep purple scales, added, Mother says humans once fed wolves when wolves were still wild. Made them into friends. Only humans do this. Mark felt a chill despite the planet's heat. These creatures knew too much. Where is your mother? Hunting, Flame said cheerfully. She'll be back soon. Then you meet her. Something in the way he said it made Mark's blood run cold. He'd heard stories, legends really, about the old species. The ones that existed before the Galactic Council formed. The first children, some called them. Beings of such immense power that they'd voluntarily removed themselves from galactic affairs to avoid influencing younger species. Dragons were supposed to be myths. Maybe I should move my camp, Mark said slowly. No. Flame fluttered his inadequate wings frantically. Mother will want to meet you. She loves humans. Says they're her favorite. Favorite what? Before Flame could answer, the sky darkened. Not with clouds, but with something far larger. Mark looked up and his jaw went slack. She descended like a falling mountain, scales the color of deep space, shot through with veins of light that pulsed like stars being born and dying. Her wings, each one the size of his crashed freighter, beat once, and the resulting wind nearly knocked Mark off his feet. When she landed, the ground shook. Her head alone was the size of a small building. Eyes like molten gold fixed on Mark with an intelligence so vast and ancient that he felt like an insect under a microscope. Hello, little human, she said, her voice resonating in his bones. I am Veltraxis, first daughter of the Eternal Flame. You may call me Vel. Mark couldn't speak. Couldn't move. Every instinct screamed at him to run, but his legs had turned to stone. Mother! Mother! Flame bounded toward her. The human has food. He said we could eat his leftovers. Did he now? Vel's massive head swung closer to Mark. He could feel the heat radiating from her, see his reflection in teeth the size of swords. Tell me, Mark, of the merchant vessel Prosperity. Yes, I know your name. I know everything that occurs on my world. Why would you share your scarce resources with creatures you just met? Mark's voice came out as a croak. They're kids. They're hungry. Veltraxis made a sound that might have been a laugh. It felt like an earthquake. Fascinating. Even facing starvation yourself, your first instinct is to feed the young. Do you know why I brought my children to this barren rock, Mark? He shook his head mutely. Because I wanted them to understand why humans are special. Her massive claw, delicate despite its size, reached down and gently nudged, Flame toward Mark. The Galactic Council fears you. Did you know that? What? We're barely a Class 2 civilization. Precisely. Vel settled onto her haunches, her tail curling around her. You've been in space for less than 2 centuries. Yet you've made more genuine allies than species that have traveled the stars for millennia. Do you know why? Mark looked at Flame, who was staring up at him with those intelligent, trusting eyes. No. Because you befriend anything, Vel said. You look at a hostile environment and see a challenge. You look at a dangerous animal and see a potential companion. You look at an alien species and see neighbors. It's in your nature. This bizarre, reckless, beautiful tendency to reach out instead of pulling back. She leaned closer, and Mark could see galaxies swirling in her eyes. Millions of years ago, my kind ruled the universe. We were powerful, intelligent, eternal, but we were also alone. We couldn't understand the concept of true friendship, loyalty without domination, companionship without purpose. Then we watched a small group of humans on a frozen world. They were starving, barely surviving, and they found a pack of wolves. Any rational species would have competed with them for food or killed them. But humans, they shared. They made friends. And both species became stronger. Vel's voice softened. That's when I understood. Humans don't survive because they're the strongest or the smartest. They survive because they're never truly alone. They make family out of strangers. They turn enemies into allies. They look at the universe and see friends they haven't met yet. Mark felt tears in his eyes. Why are you telling me this? Because I want my children to learn from you. Vel straightened up. Your rescue ship will be here in 4 hours. I've already contacted them. Until then, you will share your camp with my younglings. You will teach them what it means to be generous. To be human. Flame chirped excitedly. We can really eat the leftovers? Mark laughed, a slightly hysterical sound. He pulled out a protein bar and broke it into pieces. Here, we'll share. As the baby dragons eagerly nibbled at the food, Veltraxis watched with ancient, knowing eyes. The galaxy doesn't fear human weapons, Mark, she said quietly. They fear human hearts, because weapons can be defended against, but kindness? That conquers everything.